DRZ 400, the Supermoto. So today we have a talking video. It's going to be how to purchase a motorcycle, ATV, whatever you want, off of Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, whatever purchasing third-party app you're using. That's what today's video is going to be. Now this might not be the perfect tutorial, but this is how I look at bikes when I'm trying to buy one. The first thing you want to do really is the shake test. You just want to literally just shake everything. You want to make sure the bearings are good. You want to make sure the brakes are on there tight. If it has a kickstart, shake it. Make sure where it connects isn't going to be all loose and worn out. Same with the brake. Well, you got back wheel too, you want to shake. I don't want to get my hands greasy, but you want to check the chain as well. More the sprockets really than the chain. I guess if it's all the way tightened and the chain's loose, then yeah, but mainly check your sprockets to make sure they don't look bad or they're not missing any teeth. And two, a big thing you want to do is look up what stuff for the bikes cost before you look at it. Like say it didn't have this piece here, and you're like, oh, you should at least know what it is, because you don't want to go into the future and then want it and be like, dang, that thing costs like 200 bucks. Or if you want to sell it and get more for it, it's something you want to take into consideration with the price of the bike you're looking at. So what you want to do after you finish the shake test is grab right here, right where the exhaust connects into the engine, and mine's going to be hot, so I'm not going to grab it, but you're going to want to grab it and make sure it's not hot, because that'll tell you that he's had the bike on and maybe it has trouble cold starting and he had to use starting fluid to get it going. You don't know. So once you do that, so what else you want to check, if your bike you're looking at has that on the kickstart, that's a great way to check for compression. On a 4-stroke, you want that to be really hard to kick, or pretty hard to kick, maybe if it's a smaller bike or trail bike, but you don't want it to be like super smooth, unless maybe it's like a pit bike, then that'd be acceptable. But on a 2-stroke, they don't have as much compression, so it's hard to tell by that. As long as it's not like butterly easy to kick it, then it should be good though. So you go ahead and start it. Now if you don't know about these bikes, you might be hearing a little tick in here. I don't know if you can hear it on the GoPro, but you might be hearing the slightest tick and thinking that it needs a valve, or it's got the slightest start of rod knock even, when that isn't the case. The DRZ 400s are known for their loud auto decompressioners, and that's like 9 times out of 10 that's what it is. When you go look on the forums, people say they brought them to get their valves adjusted because they thought that's what it was, and it turns out it was just that to begin with. So that's another thing you want to look for. You don't want to accuse someone of trying to sell you a bad bike because of your lack of knowledge. The best way to tell if it's the auto decomp or if it's going to need valves or engine work is by feeling the engine. As long as you're not feeling it like as long as it just feels like vibrations, it's good. If you feel that like, you know, hitting it, then you got something wrong with it. But if not, it's going to be the auto decomp or whatever torque the bike you're looking at has with it. Alright, so we got the bike warmed up. We want to check to make sure the carb's good now. Or if not the carb, your injectors, I guess. It doesn't bog from the start, which is really good. What you want to do next is just what you want to do next is make sure it's not going to bog under pressure, and make sure all your gears are there and there's no issue with them. Now, the owner might not let you take it out. You might say, cash, you gotta put the cash in my hand if you're gonna ride it. If the guy seems cool and the bike seems legit, then go for it, but always be careful with that, because he could have just made the bike good enough to run, and then you break it and then you own it. So always be careful with that. If they're sketchy or you just have any feeling with it, just ask them to take it for a rip. And two, the biggest thing I think about when I'm looking at bikes is I'd rather look silly than be silly. Now, what do I mean by that? By that, I mean I'd rather go like this and lay on the ground in front of the guy to make sure there's no cracks in the case that have been JB welded, there's nothing leaking or nothing like that. That's what I mean by look silly. Oh, who's this? They're just doing their thing too. That's what I mean by look silly too. And the more the guy's willing to let you do, the better. Like, if you really are that concerned, ask him if you can do a compression test. I'm probably gonna say no, but if they do, then you know the bike's gonna be set. That's another thing you want to look at. All right, so now let's talk about the actual test drive and go on a test drive. You want to just go through all the gears, make sure there's no weirdness, make sure your clutch feels good, make sure your brakes feel good, make sure there's nothing loose. That's really what you want to make sure of. And you want to go, make sure you tell them what you're going to do, because if you do it and without them knowing, they might get upset. But tell them you want to make sure this bike can get to the top of the gear without bogging. Without bogging, spitting up, cutting out, whatever you want to call it. That's what you want to make sure of. Now, I'm not saying go take it on a few 0 to 60s and all that. What I mean by that is literally just go try to take it on like this. First gear, and then maybe if it's a bigger bike, do it in second. If it'll just pick the front wheel up in first, but that's what you want to see. You want to see it get to the top of the gear like that. Don't go redlining it. If it gets up there enough, you know it's good. Just like that is really all you need to be sure. Let's see. Another good thing to make sure if the bike has been crashing, something's bent, is do the no hands test. You just go like this and let it roll. If something's bent or crooked on it with the bars, suspension, whatever, let's go see what Bro's up to. But yeah, if something's bent on the bike, it won't be able to do this. It's going to tip down to one side or another. Another good thing to just check, because you don't want, you know, bent suspension, whatever. This dude's bike is so loud. So yeah guys, that's all I can really think about when I go to look at Marketplace. It's always better to look silly than be silly and buy a bike that has a problem. Always be thorough. And the biggest thing, don't let the excitement of getting a new bike cloud your judgment. That's the worst thing you could do. It's always better to ride next week than to waste your money on a piece of shit bike. So yeah guys, I think that's going to wrap this video up. That's my little take on this. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, a like, comment, subs are always appreciated. And yeah guys, thank you for watching. Peace.